And, sorry. A man who dares to waste 1 hour of his time has not discovered the value of life. This quote by Charles Darwin makes a lot of sense in today's world. The most successful, one of the most important attribute of any successful people is proper time management. Or further down, once our area director has mentioned the time management in micro level. I met one of the Toastmasters in June in Bahrain. This fellow has joined Toastmasters in December 2018. And by June 2020, this fellow has acquired all the points required for a DTM. He told me that, no wonder, because he told me that when he attended KEEN4 Toastmasters club meeting, that is the 56th club he is attending. So he is going to each and every club and providing the speeches and taking up any roles. And you don't think that he is a free bird. He's also having family, and he's managing a successful business in Bahrain as well as in India. So the motto is like that: managing the time and aim for the objectives. So Toastmasters, let's not waste the time and give sedulous attention to self-development through Toastmasters. Toastmaster International was founded by Ralph C. Smedley at Santa Ana, California, where the first meeting was conducted at YMCA on 22nd October 1924. Toastmasters. Education session, which is the most important part of Toastmasters club meeting. And we are having a handsome Toastmaster today to conduct that. He's our past VP membership, a champion speaker, and a passionate bodybuilder with a passion in cooking. He has recently taken up a prestigious position in STC Bahrain as key accounts manager. Please welcome Toastmaster Ranjit Rajashekaran as TMOD.
Thank you so much, President Toastmaster Benish. And I hope I'm audible to all of you. It's been some time since I've taken any role in our meetings. And today, I feel is the time to return, as in the theme of this meeting. There is a saying in Bhagavad Gita: your roots will improve your fruits, your intent will improve your content. I could very well relate these lines to the extraordinary efforts put forward by our new ExCom team. They started from the roots. Their intent to improve brought many positive changes to the whole system, and the synergy resonates new energy to the meetings. Let me take this opportunity to appreciate their sedulous effort. The theme I have chosen for today's meeting is the time to return. As hinted by the president, the time is very critical, and planning is very important in life. Let me share you with a story. Once upon a time, there lived a very poor man. He was very poor and was struggling to meet the ends. One day, he got a chance to meet the king of the village. And the king asked about his problems. He said, "I'm very poor. I have nothing, and I need your help." The king was kind. He asked, "What help do you need?" The poor man said, "I need a little plot." The king said, "Come here tomorrow morning at the sunrise. Run as far as you can run. The whole plot is going to be yours. But I have one condition for you. Remember from where you have started the running. You have to come back to the same point by sunset. Otherwise, you're going to get nothing. The poor man was very happy and excited. He couldn't sleep thinking about his fortune. Next day, sharp at the sunrise, he started his running. He kept running and running and running. The sun had climbed overhead. But the man did not stop. A little more hard work and rest than rest for the whole life. That was the thought running in his mind. Evening was about to come, and then the man remembered he has to return. Otherwise, he will not get anything. He saw he had come a long way, and now he had to return back. But how would he return? The sun had turned towards the west, and the time was passing so fast. A little more strength to put, he started running at his full speed. But later, he felt a bit more tiring. He somehow mustered all his energy to run back as fast as he could. But he fell down. He got out of breath and was soon dropped dead. The king was watching all this from the far. He went with his staff to the place where the man fell down, looked at him carefully, and said, he only needed a few yards of land. He was running so much without any reason. In fact, the man wanted to return, but he could not. Now imagine, by putting ourselves in place of this man, are we not making the same mistake that he did? We don't know the limit of our desires. Our needs are always limited, but the desires are infinite. We do not prepare to return in this fascination of acquiring more and more and more. And when we do so, sometimes it gets so late, then we have nothing left. Toastmasters. Before I call upon the role players, I would like to give a small brief about our club to the new members as well as for the guest. Our club, KEEN4 Toastmasters, was started in the year 2008. The club sponsor is Toastmaster DTM Wilson Kailasar. He is the immediate past president of our mother club, KEEN4. In the journey of 13 plus years, our Toastmasters club, KEEN4, has been playing a very vital role in producing responsible leaders who had actively contributed not only to the betterment of our club, but also to the society. To support me in today's meeting, I got a wonderful team, and I think now it's time for me to introduce them. First, I would like to introduce the act counter. To explain the role of an act counter, we have a highly reliable Toastmaster who had handled any roles in prompt with short notices. We have seen his good sense of humor reflecting in his speeches. He's a mechanical engineer working with MCSC. I would like to call Toastmaster Deepak to explain the role of an act counter.
So, good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and thank you, Toastmaster Day, for the wonderful introduction. So, the role of our counter is a very important role, and the purpose is to note any overused words or filler sounds that is used as crutch by any speaker during his speech. It can be like um, you know, I mean, things like that. All these filler forms sounds will affect your effectiveness in delivering a speech. So, as our counter, I will be noting down all these filler words, and at the end of this session, after the speeches, when the general evaluator calls upon, I will be presenting my report. Over to Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Deepak, for the clear explanation of the role. Now it's the time for me to introduce our grammarian. To introduce the word of the day and to monitor the usage of language, we have another talented and relatively new Toastmaster. He's an electrical engineer working with TTSJV. He loves traveling as well as reading. May I welcome Toastmaster Kiran Radhakrishnan to explain the role of a grammarian.
Thank you, Toastmasters. Toastmasters of the day and fellow Toastmasters, guests, good evening to all. Today's word of the day is sedulous. S-E-D-U-L-O-U-S, sedulous. I can share the sedulous. Meaning of the word is diligent in application or pursuit, constant or steady. And as a grammarian, my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I will take note of any improper language as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. It also my duty to introduce the word of the day. I just introduced. Definition, for example, for this word of the day, sedulous is nature is very sedulous in maintaining these differences. Nature is very sedulous in maintaining these differences. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day. Already we have President Binish and TMOD Denjit already used this word. And I will give grammarian's report when call up on during the meeting by TMOD. Over to TMOD.
Thank you so much, Kiran, for nicely introducing the role. Now it's time for me to introduce the timer. To make sure that we return on time, we have another hardworking Toastmaster. We have seen him supporting our club in various positions with a lot of initiatives. During these lockdowns, when people like me were sitting at home and drinking, he worked hard and completed his PMP. When I asked him about the secret of his success, he said he's a bachelor. Currently working as a sales engineer, I welcome Toastmaster Pranav to explain the role of a timer.
Thank you, Master of the Day. All I knew that I had a role and you are the TMOD. I knew that you would make him blush, which just happened. Anyway, thank you. Appreciate your nice words. As a timer, it's my role to keep an eye out on the timings throughout the proceedings. Today, we have a handful of 3 speeches, which comes under educational session. And the timing has been allotted for 2 of them is 4 to 6 minutes. So at 4th minute, my background will be changing to green as a first indication. And at 5th minute, the green will be changing to yellow. And at 6th minute, green will be changing again. I mean, yellow will be changing to the red as an indication of the end of the allotted time. We have another speech which is timed for 5 to 7 minutes. The interval will be same, except the fact that the green signal will be turning on at 5th minute, which will be changed to yellow at 6th and to red at 7th minute. Table topics is allowed to have a maximum of 2 minutes. Timing will be in such a way that at 1st minute, the signal or the virtual background will be changed to green, 1 minute 30 seconds yellow, and at red at 2 minutes. We have evaluation speeches as well, for which the timing has been allotted 2 to 3 minutes. At 2nd minute, the indication will be turned to green, and 2 minutes 30 seconds yellow, and at 3rd minute, it will be changed to red. The red signal, as soon as it's turned on, will remain till the speaker completes his speech. Every speaker will have a grace period of 30 seconds. Whoever speaks for a time duration of 30 seconds lesser than the minimum allotted time or 30 seconds more than their maximum allotted time will be disqualified. I'll be reporting towards the general evaluator towards the end of the meeting when asked to do so. Over to you, the master of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pranav, for the clear definition and introduction. Now it's time for me to introduce the general evaluator. To do the role of a general evaluation, we have a sedulous and terrific Toastmaster. If he's participating in the meetings, I believe it elevates the whole meeting to a different level. And today I'm so happy to see him in the role of general evaluator. He's a voracious reader, according to his wife. I would like to welcome Toastmaster Terrell Thomas to explain his role as a general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Ranjit, for those wonderful words. I am so, first of all, extremely sorry for not even opening your message for my introduction because I was busy with meetings until 4 p.m. Anyway, I believe you had tapped my wife to get few introductions, and hats off to you, either this one. So I will get into my role as a general evaluator. Well, my role for today is I'll be evaluating everything that takes place during the club meeting. In addition to that, I have a very wonderful team, ably supported in terms of our counter Toastmaster Deepak, grammarian in Toastmaster Kiran, and a timer, PMP Pranav. I mean, sorry, Toastmaster Pranav. I know why PMP Pranav comes now, but either way. And we have seasoned evaluators, and I can't believe the amazing panel of evaluators for today in terms of DTM Joshua. We have Toastmaster Rajagobi all the way from Kerala, and our Toastmaster Bala. And VP Education, it's Toastmaster Rajagobi, right? The second evaluator? Perfect. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So looking forward to a very fantabulous and a stupendous meeting, and all the best to the role players and to the speakers who are coming forward. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Terrell Thomas. Now it's time for us to get into the educational session. Before I move into the education session, I would request all the participants to switch on their camera. This is to give a better experience to our speakers as well as evaluators. May I request all of you to please turn on the camera. I have one more announcement before we move. After each project speech, we will take a 30 minutes gap. Sorry, 30 seconds gap. I'm so sorry. 30 seconds gap. During this time, we request all the members to give their one-on-one suggestions as a direct message to the speaker. I'll repeat. We will take a 30 seconds break after each project speech. During this period, all the participants can give their suggestions, if you have, as a direct message to the speaker. All right. So now it's time for me to get into the education session. We have 3 speeches today. So to evaluate the first speaker, we have a veteran Toastmaster. He has completed 20 years of his Toastmasters journey, still going strong and fast. During this tenure, he has achieved so many milestones. If I name few of them, he served as area governor, division director, club sponsor, etc., etc. He completed his DTM few months before. And outside Toastmasters, he is a travel freak. And he has traveled in more than 35 countries. May I welcome DTM Joshua Matthew to explain his role as an evaluator for the first speaker today. Toastmaster Joshua Matthew.
Good evening. Am I audible?
You're clear.
Good evening. Thank you, Toastmaster Ranjit, for those wonderful words. So here we have a icebreaker speaker. So the icebreaker speaker objectives are very simple. He or she has to introduce herself or himself to the audience of the KEEN4 Toastmasters. And the time allocated is 4 to 6 minutes. Being an icebreaker speech, we need to know her better. Maybe most of us know her already, but we need to know her better. And the time allocated is 4 to 6 minutes. Being an icebreaker speech, she is allowed to use notes and all, but I'm sure you will see at the end of the meeting, she would not be needing anything. So back to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, DTM Joshua Matthew, for mentioning the objectives of the speaker. Now it's time for me to introduce our speaker for the first project speech. For today's first speech, we have a talented Toastmaster. She's doing her icebreaker speech today. An architect by profession, working with RP Constructions. Her hobbies are cooking, painting, and listening to music. May I welcome Toastmaster Steffi for her icebreaker speech. The speech title is My Journey in Public Speaking. Toastmaster Steffi, the floor is yours.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Well, all right. According to most of the studies, people's #1 fear is public speaking. And #2 is death. Does it seem right that death is #2? Good evening, Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, and dear guest. Since I introduced myself on the day of my induction, I hope most of you know me. Therefore, I would like to take you through the journey of my public speaking. My parents, Samson C. George and Philomena Joes, used to tell me that as a kid, I used to grab every opportunity to get the spectators' attention. So when guests came home and asked me to recite a poem that I learned at school, I used to stand up, go to the center of the room, and start the act with beaming confidence. My grandfather, Mr. Cheruthur Matthew George, practiced speaking in English with me, which made me very comfortable and confident at this language from a very young age. During my kindergarten days at Sacred Heart School, Thrissur, I won a lot of prizes for storytelling, recitation of rhymes, etc. In my primary school at International Indian School, Jeddah, also did I win a lot of prizes. My confidence and pride were always on the top, and my parents used to warn me that this isn't right. In my elementary school, as usual that year, our competitions were up, and I signed up for every possible competition: handwriting, recitation, elocution. For the elocution competition, with the help of my teachers, I got my topic, prepared a speech, and practiced it, and was absolutely confident about it. On the day of the competition, the auditorium was packed with students, teachers, and judges, my fellow competitors rehearsing through their speeches, and I could feel the tension built in the room. But I wasn't worried. The competition began, and soon it was my turn. I walked up the stage as I ruled the place, and I'm definitely taking a trophy home. I reached the mic, closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and I was ready to begin. To my astonishment, I blacked out. For 2 minutes, I stood there without uttering a single word. When my hyper-confidence liquefied all over me, I walked off the stage. But I was sedulous to give up, to never give up. Therefore, I enrolled myself again the next year. And this time, it started off at a good note. But in between the speech, I froze again. And once again, I lost. The following year, I signed up for debate. And don't even ask me how it was, because it was a bigger tragedy. And that marked an end to my confidence to go up the stage and talk in front of people. From then till I completed school, never did I sign up for these competitions. I locked it in a bag and told myself my good days were over and speaking isn't my cup of tea. The horror of speaking in front of people came back to me at Satyabama University, where I pursued my architecture degree. Little did I know that the pattern of the scores would require me to stand against a whole batch of students, the entire faculty, and the external jury, and sell my design and prove why this design was right for the project. After my first external jury, I realized that I lacked a bit of self-confidence, and I only had starting trouble. Slowly, my confidence built up, and I was the old me. I started doing comparings in college meetings, college fest, weddings, etc. Until I met this person and for once again lost the confidence to speak the only language that I was comfortable in. Any guesses, dear Toastmasters, who that person was? Well, it is your area director and my dear husband, Toastmaster Devil. During our initial conversations, I had to Google up almost every word he used in the sentences because of his well-known vocabulary. And that made me nervous. And that is when I came to know that he's a champion in something called the Toastmasters. Boom! I felt the hell is gonna break down on me. Somehow, I gathered up my courage and told him to simplify his language during our normal conversations and not to use his Toastmaster skills against me. But my worst fear started coming true when he started pushing me to join Toastmasters. With all my previous experiences and listening to various KEEN4 meetings and knowing the high capacity of the competitors, I said no. No, no, and no. On the day of my induction, he comes from office and tells me, "Oh, I'm sorry, but I already told them you'll join." Well, I thought it's just an induction. I'll do my introduction and never appear to the Toastmaster meeting again. But on that day, during the table topic session, I was given a topic to speak on. Well, I know I didn't do justice to it, but I felt I could do better if I tried. And that is how I decided to try my luck at conquering my biggest fear of public speaking. So thank you to the person who chose me for the table topic session and indirectly hyped up my courage. Some of the best moments of life come in when you do the things that scares you the most. So that is my journey in public speaking. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Steffi. If I tell the truth, I have never heard these kind of speeches in any recent time. So I request all of you to give her a very loud round of applause. No doubt you are the perfect match of Terrell. Now it's time for me to introduce the second evaluator to evaluate the second project speech. To evaluate the second speaker, we have a very humble yet energetic senior Toastmaster. We all have witnessed him invigorating the meeting floor with his high level of energy and spirit. A very pleasing personality with a good sense of humor. My pleasure to welcome Toastmaster Rajagobi, our champion evaluator, to explain his role.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ranjit, for that very nice verse. It's very interesting to hear. Sometimes some people, boast about you. Thank you very much. I think I am audible, correct? Yes?
You are, sir.
Yes. Okay. Now, today we are going to witness a very wonderful, exciting speech by a veteran Toastmaster who actually has made many speeches. Is a DTM, and not only DTM but also the sponsor of our club. And this particular speech, the objectives are very simple. The objectives basically say that you should start the icebreaker speech. This is the first spring, but he's starting a new journey. So we are expecting an icebreaker speech, a very interesting, very exciting, very fabulous speech from this veteran Toastmaster. So the objective again is to just speak, to bring out your capabilities which you have acquired in the previous meetings and just speak before an audience. These are just the objectives. That's all. We all look forward a wonderful speech. Back to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rajagobi, for the brief. Now it's time for me to introduce the speaker for our second speech. We have a great Toastmaster who is very soft-spoken, yet a very powerful orator. He inspires us with his sedulous attitude and hard work. His contentful speeches are always interesting to watch. For his speech titled Second Innings, may I welcome DTM Wilson Lasser.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. A very good evening to one and all. When Pathways is giving me the opportunity to introduce myself again to the fellow Toastmasters, I recalled an evening in September 2002 when I formally introduced myself to an audience for the first time. I literally shivered. I found difficulty in taking out the words. The speech I prepared for 6 minutes, it took almost 9 minutes to complete. 10 days back, it was my 60th birthday. When I come across with the messages from my friends and well-wishers in Bahrain, back in India and other places, I felt so proud to see how my 19 years of sedulous association with this great platform, the Toastmasters International, helped me to change myself, become a better person, and serve people in many ways. Born in a middle-class conservative Christian family, I had my schooling in the nearby village school. I passed my mechanical engineering from Government Engineering College, Trichur, and took my first job in a central government firm in Madhya Pradesh. Married in 1989, I am blessed with a daughter and a son. In 2012, I expanded my family, and now I am blessed with two grandsons. During this COVID-19 pandemic period, one should be lucky enough to have all your family members together in one place. And I am one among them. After 10 years of my service in India, I decided to relocate for better prospects in Middle East and took my first job in Abu Dhabi. And after 4 years, I again shifted to another place, and that is this beautiful island, Bahrain, in the year 1998. Currently, I am working with a contracting company, MCSE, one of the leading firms in construction in oil and gas sector. My engineering job in North India, Abu Dhabi, and in Bahrain helped me to interact with the people from different cultures, different traditions, different languages, different nationalities. And that molded me to get accommodated and adjusted to any environment or circumstances. I passed through a tough time when I took my first job in Madhya Pradesh, which is a very remote place, more than 2,000 kilometers away from my hometown, around 58 hours of train journey, you can imagine. And in that place, I was the only engineer, only person from Kerala. It's in a batch of 35 engineering executives or management trainees selected by the company. Nobody speaks, most of the people speaks Bhojpuri or Chhattisgarhi, Hindi. Nobody, no workers speaks English. And the Hindi I could learn fast, but the blunders I have made during those periods still to remember. For example, in the engineering hostel, we had the mess running by company. There were mess boys, cooks. And for example, they used to serve special items, omelette, things like that. So one day I thought of having a omelette or anda bhujia. It's called, in North India, it's called anda bhujia. So instead of asking the mess boy, can you make one anda bhujia for me? I ordered, mujhe bhujia banao. Can you understand the meaning? Mujhe bhujia banao. One day we all went for a picnic by batchmates with the families, their wives, everybody. We went to a picnic spot with a small waterfalls, and we were cooking food, lunch we were preparing. And there I made another blunder. I found boiling water. So immediately I told, pani jal gaya, chawal dal do. These sort of funny situations I came across with, during that period. Through Toastmasters and other social forum, I had ample opportunities to take leadership roles. I was our college alumni president in Bahrain, BKS Toastmasters president, area governor, Kerala Catholic Association general secretary, 2 times vice president of KEEN4, and then I became Kerala Engineers Forum's president. When I am standing in front of you, I feel so blessed and satisfied today, whether it is a family it is profession or social life, I have lot to be happy. If someone asks me, what is the criteria to become a more successful person, I feel my answer would be, in today's world, the most successful person is the one who has the peace of mind. And my dear friends, when I look around, I am privileged to be one among them. I enjoy in maintaining a very low profile in life, very reluctant to get a big publicity or attention in the society. While I am particular on having what I deserve, I have never been greedy for money or property. I believe that a professional shall never retire. As long as his health is good, he shall continue to work, be active, and share the knowledge and expertise to others in the society. My dear fellow Toastmasters, that will be my goal forever. Over to Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster DTM Wilson, for that great speech. Apologize from my side because I couldn't break for 30 seconds as I announced earlier. So I would request all the participants to give their respective individual feedback to both the speakers, and we will take a 1 minute break to do this. I can see 2 guest members joined. So if I get President's permission, may I call them for an introduction?
Yes, please, TMOD.
May I welcome guest Mr. Vijay Bhatia for an introduction?
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Ranjit. It's indeed a pleasure to join as a guest in your KEEN Toastmasters. This is the first time I'm attending your club's Toastmasters meeting. Well, my name is Vijay Bhatia, and I have been a Toastmaster for last nearly 20 years. And
Wow.
I very well know the way the previous lady had mentioned, when I joined the Toastmasters, I was in the insurance industry, and I could always think that I could go to anybody and everybody and I could talk to them. It was very easy being a representative of the insurance and investment companies. But there was no apparent reason for me to actually join the Toastmasters. But after joining only, I realized that you have a lot to learn. Though you may think that I can talk to anybody and everybody, but when they inducted me and asked me to speak and say a few words, at that particular time, the first sentence I thought I would say, and I said it, that I think I was able to do everything and talk to anybody and everybody. But after attending 2-3 meetings here, I have realized that I have lot to learn, a lot of it. That is the thing that Toastmasters has given me. And of course, eventually, because of the Toastmasters, I have also ended up in not ended up, right? I have contested for the Indian club elections during the year 2011 and 12, and due to the evaluations done by the Toastmaster evaluators throughout this period made me strong enough to contest, and I was the president of that Indian club during the year 2011 and 12. It is only because of the Toastmasters that I could take this bold decision and take up this role and prepare and executed my duties there. Well, thank you very much, all of you again, for having me in the meeting. Back to you, Toastmaster Ranjit.
He's our VP membership.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Vijay Patia, for sharing your experience, and I'm sure it will inspire a lot of people in this floor. Good that you mentioned that you are from an insurance. By seeing ICT, I thought you are someone where I can get hold of. I was thinking it's an IT related profile.
Indian Club Toastmasters.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. And I have retired from the insurance and investment industry about 8 to 10 years ago. Thank you.
Great, great. We have one more guest member, Mr. Sanjay Gupta. May I welcome you to just give a small introduction about you?
Yeah, it's Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Good evening, Toastmasters and distinguished Toastmasters. So we are a newly formed club, Toastmasters Club. I think we only held 7 meetings till now. And I am the VP Education of that club. It's called Bahrain Medical Fraternity Toastmasters Club. Toastmaster Joshua is one of our mentors there. And it's a good opportunity for me to see how good speakers and brilliant speakers speak and interact. So our club is not only doctors, it is anybody who has anything in delivering of medical care. So nurses, technicians, accountants in hospital, anybody is free to join. And we are still in the learning process. We are a little bit baby club now. When I see other clubs having held 400 meetings with 3 or 4 DTMs in them, we are a very small group. But we hope to expand with the help of others. And it's been a pleasure seeing how things are going on in other clubs. Thank you, everybody, and over to you, Toastmaster Ranjit.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sanjay Gupta, for your words. So I hope by now you were able to give your one-on-one feedbacks.
So I've just joined because my clinic has finished now, and I saw the invite on my group. So I saw the end of Mr. Wilson's, Toastmaster Wilson's speech. I think he's a patient of mine. I'm not sure, but he looks very familiar. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, doctor. I am maybe last 15, 20 years we interact.
How old I have become in time over here.
Thank you. Thank you for your presence. I am so pleased to see you in our club.
Well delivered.
I don't think I need to introduce Dr. Sanjay Gupta, one of the very loving doctor for many, many.
Okay, I guess he's an American mission, right?
Correct. That's right.
Yes. And Dr. Asha was here, right?
She also is busy in a clinic, I guess.
Yeah, no, she came. She introduced herself, right?
So she will be flicking in and off, I guess. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bala, you have something to say?
I was just referring to what Wilson sir was saying. Okay. I have been to his clinic too. So yeah.
Okay, good. Fine. So now it's time for us to move on with our third speech. Before inviting the speaker, I would like to introduce the evaluator for the speech number 3. To evaluate the third speaker, we have another silent, humble, yet highly talented Toastmaster. He's working as an advisor of information systems at Telecom Regulatory Authority. His interests are politics and debating. It's my pleasure to welcome Toastmaster Bala Subramaniam to explain his role as an evaluator.
Okay. Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, a very warm good evening to one and all. It is so wonderful to see everyone around, and even during the tough times, we still go ahead and fight it out, and we are sedulous enough. So it's a fantastic feeling, and it's a great time. So let's hope for all the good, and it's a great long weekend in front of us. So it's going to be a fantastic time ahead on top of it. With regards to the speech, particular to my speaker, the purpose of your speech is to speak in front of the group on any topic it can be any topic. Receive feedbacks on the topic from the evaluator, apply the feedback on the next subsequent speech. So it's going to be a very simple, very interesting, open conversation type of subject. So it's an open, as I said, it's an open subject. Feel free to be yourself, take the feedbacks, apply it again on your next speak. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bala, for briefing your all. Now it's time for me to welcome the speaker for his icebreaker again. For the third speech today, we have a very talented Toastmaster. We share a lot of things in common. Name is just one of them. Working as a mechanical engineer in Babco. His hobbies are reading and watching movies. May I welcome the talented Toastmaster Ranjit Ramachandran for his speech. Are you listening?
Thank you, Tiamoli. Am I visible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. Just checking if I'm right. Is there anyone in our meeting today who has never heard this question? I first heard it from my parents, going further ahead from my teachers, and nowadays, most recently, from my wife, as I'm watching TV while she's asking questions. One of the sincere forms of respect is actually listening to what the other has to say. So, Mr. fellow Toastmasters, and our most distinguished guest, a warm good evening to all of you. I hope you are listening. We are all here tonight as Toastmasters in a Toastmaster meeting so that we can improve our leadership and be a better communicator. What essentially is communication? Communication is sending and receiving information. On a verbal communication, it's speaking and listening. So to be a better communicator, you have to be a better speaker and a better listener. So you cannot be a good communicator if you don't listen well. Over the last year, due to the pandemic, we have moved on to the work from home and online meeting. Even right now, meeting, which used to be in a physical mode, is currently in a virtual mode over Zoom. This actually took a hit on our listening skill, because the problem with an online meeting is that the attention span that a person has on an online meeting is much less in comparison to what the person would have. And also, the amount of distraction that you can have is much higher. You've got a mobile phone with you, you've got books around, you've got newspaper. So you could be doing a lot of things while you are attending an online meeting. So that means you're getting distracted and your listening ability is going down. So over the last year, look at it again, you've been going down as listeners, even though it's been the same in terms of how you've been speaking, the communication skill. But the question is, listen to all communications or all conversations in the same way? Definitely not. If I were to have a meeting with my boss regarding my timeline for the projects, my milestones, and my deliverables, I would need to note down each and every detail. Instead, I need to recall them and I need to act on them. So that is right, specific details. That's one of the focus areas when you're listening. The same thing when you go back and have a drink with your friend and then you're having a random chat. Imagine his surprise if you were to flip out a notepad and start taking notes. He'd probably throw you out of the house. So you need to identify what type of listening you have to do based on the content and the context. In Toastmasters, believe it or not, we've got most of these covered. So if you look at our two roles for grammarian and our counter, what they do is they're specifically looking for specific details of each of the role players and speakers. That is, grammarian looks at the grammar and the usage of the word of the night, and the counter looks specifically at the usage of ahs or filler words. So this is specific. Now, as I said, when you're talking to your friend or when you are in a normal setting where you're understanding information, you'd be on the big understanding big picture, where you're understanding the overall ideas and key messages. We do in Toastmasters as a listener. Evaluating content is, which is especially useful if you're evaluating a presentation given by a contractor or a consultant. So you're not going to look at each and every nitty-gritty details. Over there, you'll be much more focused on the content to see if what or that consultant is supposed to do for you is actually what you need, specific to the content. And then there comes attention to subtle cues and empathizing with the speaker. Right? Attention to some subtle cues is basically our body language, our facial expressions, how we express ourselves using our body and our face. And are you able to read those body movements? Are you able to read those facial expressions? That's essentially what you do when you are focusing on subtle cues. And the last one is empathizing with the speaker. Empathizing with the speaker, you relate to the speaker in terms of how he feels about the topic. Trust me, the last two ones, attending to and empathizing with the speaker, is most essential when you're having a conversation. Trust me, not every word is spoken. Now, going back to how we do it in Toastmasters, evaluating content is, if you feel that is one of the areas that you need to focus on, be an evaluator, be a project evaluator. As my evaluator just stated, he's got a specific set of deliverables that he looks at when he's evaluating my speech. So it is evaluating the content. In addition, he is also going to look at the subtle cues. But when you look at all the picture, most of the things are covered. As a listener, as a standard listener, not as a role player or a guest, what you're doing is you're trying to understand the big picture. You're trying to understand the overall key message that I'm trying to pass on. But do you get that? Because that is the area where you get most distracted, since you don't have a specific task. In order to do that better, or to identify if you're actually doing that by yourself, from the next meeting onwards, we're going to introduce a new role, which is called as a listener. This is not a new role in Toastmasters. There are a lot of clubs out there who already have this role. In our meetings, this is going to be new. The role is basically to take on a comments or tidbits of information from various speakers, from the Toastmaster of the day, or even from the presidential address. So these tidbits of information will be written down, and when the general event asks for the report, what this person does is going to ask a few questions. I'm just going to go questions. Who said a man who dares to waste 1 hour of time has not discovered the value of time? Someone said that. Can you realize who that is? That was our president, Toastmaster Binish. And this would be a sample of one of the questions. Another question would be, the secret of success is being a bachelor. This is an introduction given by Toastmaster Ranjit. Who did he mention by this? So these are the kind of questions that, and these I'm sure would bring in more interaction as well. So the question is, are you willing to take up this role from the next meeting? And by answering, by being able to answer these questions, what you realize is that you are getting better at listening. If you are not asking a question, that means that you haven't been listening. So, Toastmasters, were you listening? Over to you, Tia Moni. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Ranjit Ramachandran, for that great speech. Now it is time for us to do a 30 seconds one-on-one feedback for Toastmaster Ranjit. So we will take again a 30 seconds break before we move on. I think we can move on. Now it's time for the most awaited session, the table topics. To help improving your improv speaking skills and develop your quick thinking skills, we have this hard-working Toastmasters. She's a quantity survivor by profession. Her main hobby is cooking. My pleasure to welcome Toastmaster Jayasree to conduct the table topic section. Toastmaster Jayasree.
Good evening, Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guest. Today, one second. Am I audible?
You are.
Yeah. 1 second. Table topic enables a member to develop the skills of impromptu speaking. It will help them to organize and express their thoughts in a organized manner. And topic speech, this table topic is a mini speech actually, with an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Each speaker can speak up to 1 to 2 minutes, and the participants are disqualified at 2 minutes 30 seconds. They can use the word of the day also. Then let me speak out the table topic. Actually, I would ask one question. What is your favorite book? Anybody interested? Speak out. Wilson, sir? Toastmaster Wilson?
Can you repeat the question, Table Talk Master? I think you asked what is my favorite book.
Favorite book.
Okay, that was totally, sorry.
Some books may actually inspire us in some manners.
Yeah.
Actually, we would like to get what may be your favorite book.
If you ask me, my Table Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guest, a very good evening once again. If you ask me how good is my reading habit in terms of general books, apart from technical things, I find it very difficult to have enough time to read what is required for my job. So if you ask me whether I am a regular reader of novels or history books or fiction, I would say that recently maybe I read a book written by Shashi Tharoor recently, but I could not complete it. He wrote about the second innings of Narendra Modi, and that was interesting. But my political views I may not be able to share here. But as an author, I admire a lot what Shashi Tharoor used to speak or right in terms of maybe my alignment with his thinking. So I would say that that book, which he has written about how our current government in India came to power in second time, I enjoyed that book. Maybe because that may not be the same view for others, but because of my political views, maybe the reason for making me or reaching me that conclusion. Over to table topic master.
Thank you very much. It was very nice. In short time, you organized that speech. Thank you, sir. Now, next topic is one second. Celebrity you would like to meet and why? I will read once again. Celebrity you would like to meet and why? Can we invite our distinguished guest, Mr. Sanjay Gupta?
Hi, good evening, everybody. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. So I am not very hot on celebrities whom I'd like to meet. But of course, we idealize people, and we idealize people who we look at the traits which are good to us. So as I look across the board, there is one celebrity whom I'd like to meet is Warren Buffett. You know, this is a very wealthy gentleman. He owns a lot of shares. He is, I think, one of the richest gentlemen having billions of dollars. But if you look at his lifestyle, it seems to be a common man's lifestyle. He drives a car which is very old. It's not a Rolls Royce or a Mercedes Benz, or he wears a simple watch, and he's not interested in showing off his money. He lives in a house which is simple as compared to many other very wealthy people like Dhirubhai Ambani, or they have mansions and like to show off. At the same time, he has made his mark on the world. He has not left his children huge amounts of money. So what he has said is that I'm leaving you enough for you to get by with, but I'm not leaving you enough that you don't need to work. So he has inculcated this trait on them. And this is a celebrity I'd like to meet and get his views on the world. He's also a philanthropist. He has donated a lot of money to a lot of societies, and he doesn't just give away the money. He wants you to show the returns over there. Something like when he invested about $1 million in Bill Gates Foundation, after a year, he asked Bill Gates' wife, I gave you $1 million. Can you show me what you have done with that? This is a trait which I admire. You see so many people asking for donations. There's a calamity, and you give money or you give clothes and all that. But in the end, you don't really know where this donation of yours has gone. And so there is a trait I admire in him very openly asking that, show me what you have done, show me your results. This is one celebrity I'd like to admire. And there are some other celebrities whom I'd like to meet, who have gone down in life and have come back on top. If you look at film stars, Amitabh Bachchan is one such celebrity. Of course, he's a very learned man. His father was a big poet, and he has seen depressions. He has seen when he almost went bankrupt and he's come back to life. He had health problems, he's come back to life. These are one or two celebrities I'd like to meet. Thank you, everybody, and over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. I too like Amitabh Bachchan to see. My celebrity also is Mr. I want to see Amitabh Bachchan actually. Next question is how to quit smoking. Actually, next question is how to quit smoking. Toastmaster Deepak, could you please try? He's not there actually. Toastmaster Bala? Oh, no, sorry.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I have passed the question.
How to quit smoking?
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. I think the question was to me, how to quit smoking.
Yes.
I think basically from my own experience, smoking, if you have started smoking and if you enjoy it, it should not be a reason that it should not be something you should quit. It should be like controlled, I would say. You can occasionally or socially or once or twice in a week as you like it. It is not very big thing that you should be afraid of, so that you should be quitting. It's okay. That's my personal opinion. If it is controlled in a controlled manner, I think it's not a big deal that it should be like very hard and fast to quit smoking. Of course, the thing is that it is your personal choice, and you should not be smoking in like publicly and making a nuisance for others. So that's the but apart from that, it's a choice, and you, until and unless you are a chain smoker or somebody who is addicted to smoking, that's a different case where you will be having further consequence of smoking. I think that is there for everything. Everything. If you are addicted to anything, you will have its own consequences. So that's also with smoking also. Otherwise, it's okay if it is occasionally. Or to table topics first.
Thank you, Ramesh, for your try. Actually, it was excellent. But still, our doctors may be there to comment on this, whether it is good or bad.
For a doctor, it's not a choice. It's not a social thing. I think it's not something we will say. It's all right if you enjoy it once in a while. Please go ahead. Maybe for social drinking, for alcohol, maybe we might say yes. If you are with friends, you have a unit or two of alcohol. That's not a problem. But for smoking, usually it starts when you are in college, and then it picks on, and then it's very difficult to quit. Dr. Babu Ramchandran is one of our leading campaigners for anti-smoking. He's a well-known Toastmaster. So well said as a table topics, but I think the physicians will disagree with you that it's something which you may or may not give. Once in a while, smoking is okay. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Ramesh. Thank you for your comment. Actually, I too also feel the same. Next question is, what was your favorite part of today? What was your favorite part of today? Toastmaster Pranav Rajivan.
Just a
Since
second,
it's
let
the time a
me.
little bit difficult.
I
The
think
timing, yes.
I can manage.
Okay, no problem. We can.
Thank you, Master of the Day, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests who was attending the meeting. What was my best part of the day? I would like to rephrase the question in slightly such a way. What is the best part of my way? Because best part of the day, which is right, I'm having now 7:30 to 9:30 of this evening with wonderful gentlemen and distinguished guests. It's been an amazing session so far. I don't need myself to brief how so far we have gone on this session. It's been amazing with wonderful speeches by, one of them was icebreaker, and you never felt it was an icebreaker. And another speech by DTM, Distinguished Toastmaster, and by VP Education, which is going to introduce a new role, which is going to be amazing in our upcoming meetings. So it has been an amazing day when it comes to the overall experience, and I would see Toastmasters has been a highlight. And moving forward, I guess we will be having more of the meetings rather than online, and it will going to be offline. I guess we are aiming for that by at least September, if not in August, which is very next month, and we think it's been pretty soon. So having spending time with you guys and distinguished guests, attending this inspiring stories, listening to the inspiring stories from around the world, and being amongst you and having a learning experience is the best part of the day I can take away from this. And yes, you know, what else you need rather than having the longest public holidays in Bahrain. So, and it starts with me from today onwards, which increases the sweetness of this meeting. And I guess all of us are comfortably sitting in our home, comfortably attending the meeting because of the fact that we are having the holidays. So, but nothing surpasses the sweetness of this wonderful meeting. So I would emphasize the fact that this is the best part of the day, these 2 hours which I spend with you guys. Over to you, the table topics master.
Thank you very much. We are honored by these speeches. Thank you very much. Next, I would ask timer whether we everybody have qualified. Timer, dear timer, did all of our participants qualify?
Just a second, ma'am. Yeah, what was the question about?
That is, participants are disqualified at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. They can speak.
I am afraid that one of them has overshoot the time, and we will have to disqualify that.
That will be the general evaluator.
Yeah.
He will take the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then favorite table topic speaker also we can vote actually in the chat box.
Yeah, Jayashree, that will be up to the general evaluator. So once you're done, we can hand over.
That will be later. No worries.
Go to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Jayashree, for having a very nice table topic session. All the topics were interesting and all the participants did a good, in fact, they performed well. So now, unlike our previous meetings, we have the officers' business session coming in between. So to have the session done, I would like to give the control to the president. May I welcome Toastmaster Binish Nalarajan to carry out the business session.
Good evening once again, Toastmasters and distinguished guests. As we are 10 minutes delayed, so we will quickly go through the business section. Before we proceeding with individual reports, I would like to make some announcement. Like our district council has already declared the awards which we can achieve in this new term. I'm sure that some of the awards, it's really achievable in club level as well as in member level. In line with that, we have planned to submit the club success plan and the calendar for the meeting for the this term before 15th August to achieve one of the award. I request each member, VP Education and the other ExCom members will be in touch with each members to complete that. And I request support from each and every member. So now we'll proceed to the individual reports. I request VP Education, Toastmaster Ranjit Ramachandran to provide his report.
Hi, good evening, everyone, once again. We've also, in addition to what our president has mentioned about us opportunity to win a lot more awards in this term, we also have the opportunity to level some of, to get some of the member level awards. I've shared it in our group chat last week. We can achieve a lot of awards. For example, achieving a DTM pin. We have got 2 members in our club who will be able to achieve DTM if they put the effort onto it. You could achieve pathway mentors by going into mentoring. There is even a award called as triple crown, which means from level 1 to level 4 in a single go. And it is not impossible to achieve, because that's only 16 speeches in our 12 months duration. Not impossible to achieve. And another thing that I'd like to put forward is, if we have members willing to take up the speeches and want to win the awards, marathon speeches, we can have speakathons, which is long duration sessions specifically for our members to go ahead and complete their project speeches. So if you are interested to have those, let me know. If we have good enough participation, we'll go ahead and conduct one of those. That's it. Over to you, President. I'll contact each of you individually for any further requirements.
Thank you, VP Education. Now I request VP Membership to provide this report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Once we formalize our club success plan, as I said in our last meeting, our aim is to achieve both the goals when it comes to the membership factor, which will be adding 8 new members to the club during our tenure. And was unable to get the guests from my side whom I was trying to fetch for the current meeting, but would like to thank our distinguished guest for today's meeting, Mr. Vijay Bhatia, as well as Dr. Sanjay Gupta and Dr. Asha Pradeep. As a VP membership, it's my duty to coordinate with them and invite them for the meeting, but I'm pretty sure that one of the senior member might have invited them. So on behalf of KEEN4 Toastmasters, as a VP membership, I would like to express our sincere thanks for attending this meeting and making this meeting more lively. Over to you, the President.
Thank you, VP Membership. Our VP PR is not in the meeting today, so I will go to Secretary. Please present your minutes of meeting of last meeting.
Yeah, thank you, President. The club meeting convened on Monday, 5th July 2021 at 7:15 p.m. with TM Binesh Natarajan presiding. Members present were Toastmaster Ranjit Ramachandran, Toastmaster Pranav Rajivan, Toastmaster Jayashree, Toastmaster Bala Subramaniam, DTM Wilson Lasa, Toastmaster Divakaran Rajgopi, Toastmaster Rajendran Ambanath, Toastmaster Ranjit, Toastmaster Mrinal, Toastmaster Vijay Matthew, Toastmaster Steffi Sampson, Toastmaster Deepak KP, and Toastmaster Hari Krishnan, along with Toastmaster Kiran, Toastmaster Raj Jaydev. Guests present were Toastmaster Asha Rani, Mr. Stoffin John, Mr. Naushad Noor. This business session was started with reports from officers. Minutes of previous regular meeting were reviewed and approved. Members with meeting roles were introduced. Toastmaster of the day was Toastmaster Deepak KP. The topic master was Toastmaster Binesh Natarajan. General evaluator was DTM Wilson Lassa. Evaluators TM Toastmaster Divagaran Rajagopi. Grammarian Toastmaster Steffi Sampson. Our counter was presented by Toastmaster Pranav Rajivan. And timer was done by Toastmaster Ranjit Ramachandran. Prepared speech were presented, and Toastmaster T.G. Matthew had a wonderful speech on why join the Navy when you can be a pirate. Toastmaster Asha Rani gave a torch to the walkway through the pathways. Table topic session was not conducted. Evaluations were presented. Toastmaster Divagara Rajagopi evaluated the speech from Toastmaster T.G. Matthew. Reports from members with meeting roles were provided. Timer, grammarian, general evaluator provided their reports. As general evaluator had a suggestion that the word of the day may be present on the chat box. And club awards were presented. Best speaker award was given to Toastmaster T.G. Matthew. President invited the club mentor, Toastmaster Wilson Lasser, to give farewell speech to Toastmaster Rajagopi and wish him good luck. Later, Toastmaster Rajagopi also gave a goodbye speech to the Toastmasters. Meeting adjourned at 9:35 p.m. Over to the President.
Thank you, Secretary, for that report. Now I request Toastmaster Bala, our treasurer, to provide his report.
President, do we have to see if there are any corrections in MOM, or else we will have to, somebody will have to propose one second?
I'm sorry, VPM. Thank you for reminding me. Is there any correction, Toastmasters, in the minutes of meeting? Or someone can adopt or pass that? Okay, Ranjit Ramchandran, someone can second that, please?
Bala second.
Bala second, yeah. Now, over to you, Toastmaster Bala, for Treasurer's report.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests. A very warm good evening once and all. There's not much difference from what I have with regards to the Treasurer's report from the previous times. Only very few members are yet to pay the remaining dues. I shall be contacting them personally on messages with regards to the dues, but I would appreciate if everyone can please respond to the messages if you are receiving any due messages specifically, and get it clarified as soon as possible. Other than that, just wanted to extend a sincere thanks on behalf of the ExCom and personally myself for paying all the dues, and we are all good to go with regard to the current term all the way up until September. Back to you.
Thank you, Treasurer. Toastmasters, any points to discuss in this business section? Okay, so since nothing further to discuss, I will hand over back to TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Banish. Now we have the general evaluation session left out. Feedback is really important in a Toastmasters meeting. As we get the feedback, that gives us an opportunity to improve. To evaluate, to give the general evaluation feedback, may I welcome Toastmaster Terrell Thomas to give his comments on the meeting.
Thank you once again, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Ranjit. Before I start calling upon the individual evaluators, can I request the timer, Toastmaster Pranav, to tell the timing for the speeches as well as for the table topics, please?
Good evening, General Evaluator. For the educational session, we had 3 speakers, starting from a wonderful partner of yourself who did the icebreaker at 6 minutes, 5 seconds. And I'm afraid remaining 2 speakers were overshoot when it comes to the timing. Toastmaster Wilson sir took 8 minutes, 17 seconds. And Toastmaster Ranjit Ramachandran took 8 minutes, 5 seconds. Table topics were attended by 3 of the members and 1 guest, starting from Toastmaster Wilson, who took 1 minute, 48 seconds. Guest Dr. Sanjay Gupta took 2 minutes, 56 seconds. Toastmaster Deepak took 1 minute, 42 seconds. And myself took 2 minutes, 27 seconds. Over to you, the General Evaluator.
Thank you, timer. So are we considering the disqualification for the international speech before we proceed to the voting, or?
I guess it's up to
the
General Evaluator.
We have 1 disqualification, right?
No, 2 disqualification for the international speech, Toastmaster Wilson and Toastmaster Ranjit.
All right, so that's disqualified.
That's disqualified.
Yeah, in terms of table topic, we have only got 1 disqualification.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that means for international speech, we won't be having the voting. And
Yes.
for table topics, I request the members to vote once the option comes up. So with that, I will move on to the individual evaluation session. For evaluating the first speaker, it's my pleasure to invite our veteran Toastmaster, DTM Joshua Matthew, to give his point of view of the speech. DTM Joshua Matthew, please.
Am I audible?
Yes.
General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, our speaker for tonight and guest, good evening once again. Toastmaster Steffi was required to introduce herself to a fellow Toastmasters at KEEN4 through her icebreaker speech. We all know her partially because she happens to be the better half of our past president and area director, Toastmaster Terrell. I am reminded of the old Malayalam saying, Mullappu Pumpodi Etidakam Kallinumunduru Saurabhyam, meaning even stones lying near jasmine flowers will inherit some fragrance. In this case, we had a guilty instead of jasmine in Toastmaster Terrell, and a diamond instead of an ordinary stone in Toastmaster Steffi. In 6 minutes and 5 seconds, she introduced her parents, and then she took us from a childhood to her school days in Sacred Heart, Trichur, to Saudi Arabia, then to the Architecture College in Satyabama, Chennai. All along, she painted the picture of how sedular she was in oral communication, be it at reciting or at speech making, until the day she blacked out and almost gave up. But the never give up, also known as NGO spirit, helped her to propel forward. And as luck shone on her, she landed up in the safe hands of our triple TT, Toastmaster Terrell Thomas. And all along she introduced, and I don't have to say anything about it, whether it was eye contact, gestures, she was fantastic. As I said, yes, it has to rub. The great things from Terrell has to rub onto her because she is their life partner. So that is what the main point in icebreaker is. We need to get to know that person better. And has any one of you any doubt that we don't know her better than what we knew her? If you don't have any doubt, please give her a big round of applause. This is what is all about icebreaker. And only advice, because there's nothing I can for our improvement. Only thing is I stick by this NGO, never give up, or perseverance. Yes, always, you have just started your life, always persevere. I also say there are no failures in life. There may be unsuccessful attempts. So think it is not so successful, or not even unsuccessful, not so successful attempt. So take it as a learning curve, go ahead and enjoy the life. And I look forward to hearing your future speeches. All the best to our speaker. Back to General Evaluator.
Thank you to dedication of another speaker, especially when you also have part and parcel in the effort of preparing the speech and going through it. But hats off to Toastmaster Steffi in giving a wonderful attempt. So VIP Education, you can catch up for the next speech. So yeah, you can go ahead with that. I will move on to the next evaluator. Can I request Toastmaster Rajagobi to come and give his point of view about the next speech? Toastmaster Rajagobi, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster General Evaluator Terrell Thomas. Today we witnessed a fabulous speech, a wonderful speech, a life story from our top veteran speaker, Toastmaster Wilson. He painted again, or he described in detail his life, where from he started. He started with a moderate family and how he came up in life. So as a story, it was very inspiring of a man from a village, from having just enough things to grow. He with his own efforts, with his commitment, his sedulous pursuance of activities he has come up in life, and that inspired us all. Thank you, Mr. Wilson, for giving a wonderful speech in that respect. And another thing which was very interesting in his speech was not only he talked about his life, but he tried to bring in some humor into this speech, which I think is one thing which everybody should do, because he narrated some incidents which we had in the North India when he was talking to his friend, mujhe bhaji banao, something like that, which was so hilarious. I could laugh at his interesting, humorous anecdotes which he brought in here. So, as Mr. Wilson is very experienced and as a wonderful speaker, he perfected everything. Almost his clarity was very excellent. His voice modulation, probably I want to talk something about that in the next one. And his eye contact and the gestures, I would say, which I liked very much. A way of little bit suggestion for the speaker, for all speakers, what I would say is, whenever you speak, I would like to see little bit of vocal variety in the speech. I thought that speech by Wilson little bit was dimmed by vocal variety. He could have had ample opportunities to bring in this vocal variety when he was talking his jokes, and also the end of the speech when you say, I came from a small family. Today I'm very happy, I'm peaceful because I value life. Something like that, big some sort of vocal variety, because vocal variety, if you bring into your speech, you will be able to connect and bond with your audience. So that is, I would say, suggest everyone to practice. And that, apart from that, the speech, as I told, was inspirational, humorous, and he perfected the art of speaking. He showed us the art of speaking. All the best to Mr. Wilson. Back to the general evaluator.
I think Terrell got disconnected. Yeah, he's back.
Terrell?
Terrell, you are mute.
He's having trouble with internet connection.
Yeah. Evaluation.
You can call
Hello?
the third evaluator.
Okay, fine. Toastmaster Rajagopi for giving you're the evaluator for the third speech, Toastmaster.
Is Terrell still there or?
Sound is breaking.
I think Terrell just introduced Toastmaster Bala.
Okay, so he requested, or because I couldn't hear it well. Okay.
I think we
can go ahead with the evaluator.
Yeah, we should start.
Okay. Thank you, General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests. A very warm good evening, and to my speaker in particular. The most important items, as mentioned in the evaluation criteria for the speech done by Toastmaster Ranjit, are basically 7 points. I'll quickly go through them one by one, just in case we missed anything. Clarity, vocal variety, eye contact, gestures, audience awareness, comfort level, and interest. I don't think I could pinpoint even a single item which my speaker in particular didn't go through. It was really a well crafted, well researched topic with attention to details. So, on that note, I think we need to give a good round of applause to Toastmaster Ranjit for a fabulous speech, a very sedulous approach in getting the data incorporated, and most importantly, the item that I personally enjoyed is the clarity of the point itself. Like each and every item were very focused, very critical, and in fact, I think these are things that each one of us as Toastmasters definitely needs to take into consideration while we prepare speeches. So a very well crafted, well drafted, well prepared, and well split out speech. But most importantly, there are few things which are of greater, I would probably say, interest. One of the items is the definition of what a communication channel is. Like how, when there was an area where the speaker defined that this is how we define a communication channel. What is most important, in my view, is not just the definition, but rather the traits of identifying what those definitions are. I probably think that is one area that needs a as it goes along in the subsequent items. And the second most important item are the focused areas, which were clearly highlighted over a span of a presentation. As if I'm not mistaken, if I recall it properly, it was recalling details, understanding the bigger picture, evaluate the content, attending to the subtle cues, and empathizing with the speaker. And there was one area where the sentence, or rather it was more of like a note, where the author was speaker was trying to say, trust me, trust me. Trust me is a very strong word, so probably a double anecdote on the same word could have been avoided, but I like the way it was subsequently ratified with regards to bringing about a proposition within the Toastmasters Club on introducing a new role of that of a listener, which is very impressive considering the fact that he is the current VPE. That gives us a lot of things to look forward for. So on a very high level, well crafted, very beautiful presentation. As I said, a couple of points. One is the area, the focused area that needs to be clearly defined. And most importantly, the concept of definition should stick not only to just elaborating on the context, but no, it is more of specifying the measures. And there was one area which I personally loved, which was the bringing about a new proposition. But one point again on that is to specify what is the measure that you're going to bring in, how it is going to be compared with regards to what a benchmark, a bookmark is, and how it will reflect on whatever information that is getting gathered with regards to the point, which again goes back to the clarity, which is the context and the content. So I think it was a very beautiful speech. Thank you very much for enlightening us and giving us inputs as to how we should improvise ourselves. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bala, for giving us your wonderful feedback. Can I call upon the timer, Toastmaster Pranav, to give the evaluation timing taken by all the speakers?
General Evaluator, I believe you are looking for the timing for those done
Correct.
evaluation speakers.
Correct.
DTM Joshua and Toastmaster Rajagobi nearly synchronized their timing as 3 minutes 17 seconds and 3 minutes 18 seconds respectively. Whereas Toastmaster Bala took a little bit more than the allotted time and went up to 4 minutes 26 seconds.
So which means Toastmaster Bala is disqualified, and we have two contenders for the best evaluator. So
between DTM Joshua and Toastmaster Rajagobi.
Yes. So now the polling and the voting can be done for both the speakers, Toastmaster Rajagobi and DTM Joshua. And I just have to appreciate our timer for today, Toastmaster Pranav, for taking up this wonderful role and keeping the time very sedulously and up to the record and track. And also, it was much appreciated of him. He was given a table topic question, and also, one second. Yeah, he managed to keep the timing yet still. So you have done a great job. Thank you, timer for today, Toastmaster Pranav. Can I get the R counter report, Toastmaster Deepak, please?
Yeah, good evening, to Toastmasters and General Evaluator. Once again, from the R counters report, what I would say is overall the way the speeches were presented were very excellent, and there's very less scope as an R counter to pick some points out of each one of those speakers. But what few of them I have noted down is the timer Pranav, when he introduced himself, the role of the timer. There are a few hours, around 5 of them, and then the general evaluator himself, during the initial session, when he introduced the roles, he had a small glitch. There were some filling words, right? Like around 6 times, and yeah, 2 times. Apart from that, I could find some good. I think myself, I made some few and outs that I had not recorded. Apart from that, TMOD, I would especially have to say the way he's spoken is very well. I was trying to find, but I couldn't find any or ohms or TMOD. Had very good pauses, but there was no any filling words. And I have to also appreciate our first speaker, Toastmasters Cheppy, especially because in icebreaker speech where I was trying to find some, I couldn't find anything, and was excellently prepared and well spoken for a icebreaker speech. So that's it. And one or two E's with Toastmaster Wilson, our second speaker, and one with Toastmaster Rajagopi, our second evaluator. But rest of this are very negligible. Overall, it was excellent, and most of the speakers they were well prepared, and they didn't give any room for me to provide a report. Thank you all to the general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Deepak, for giving us a detailed report on the R counter. It shows that you had listened to the entire session with a very keen interest. Thank you once again, Toastmaster Deepak. Now I'll call upon the grammarian for his report. Toastmaster Kiran, please.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Toastmasters, good evening, everybody. Today we had one wonderful speech, and if you go to grammarian log, actually we have a few usage of word of the day. President TM Binish used word of the day once, and TMOD Ranjit Ramachandran used 3 times. TM Joshua used word of the day once, and also we have some list of quotes and thoughts used by TM Binish, TMOD Ranjit Ramachandran, and TM Joshua. Over to General Evaluator. That's all from my side.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kiran. And I must appreciate you for bringing the word for today, which was an easy word and something that which we can use in our daily vocabulary. It was very much appreciated for introducing us to a beautiful word which we can replace in our daily synonym. So hope to see you in future roles and future speeches. I will now move on to the general session. We started sharp on time, 7:30 p.m. Before I move on to the general session, I want to comment on the quality of today's meeting. I believe not only just me, everyone must have noticed today's meeting was a top-notch quality. We had 3 prepared speeches, well-prepared speeches, and everything was going on time. All the role players conducted their roles perfectly and to the tune and in sync with the agenda. It's after I think a pretty long time we are having such a very well-maintained meeting. It was a very high pleasure. More than that, it was the preparation that was there prior to the meeting, because I personally received a call from a treasurer, Toastmaster Bala, because he was assigned my name to check whether, to ensure that I will be there. And I'm sure the others might have received calls, which shows the new XCOM is on full gear and on full-on gasoline to take KEEN4 Toastmasters to a greater heights. And I request the XCOM to continue this practice even for the future meetings, because that will give a sense of seriousness to all the speakers to be there present. Whoever brought this idea, great, hats off, because that will make them ensure that they will be there present there for the next meeting. Because you see, WhatsApp, people can ignore the messages, see it, not reply it. It doesn't give seriousness to their presence. But once you make that phone call, during my term, I tried to implement, but it never worked out. I have heard stories that XCOM before me used to have this age-old practice even before WhatsApp was developed. So glad that you people brought this back. And as I said, everyone was well prepared. Talking about the presidential address by Toastmaster Binish, well, I can see that he's getting used to the position and he has authority with great panache. It was a proper and a very well-scripted presidential address. He was comfortable in that position as a leader, and he checked all the criteria that was required in a presidential address. So it's a great start, and hope that you continue with the great momentum. Talking about the table topics, Toastmaster Jayashree, she did a very commendable job. She had different topics, and none of the topics are interrelated. That's fine in table topics. We get the pleasure to talk and comment on different topics, which was very much appreciable. Only one suggestion that I have is, we had a couple of minor role players. Maybe you could have targeted the topics at them rather than the big ones, like the project speeches. They already did speak for 5 to 6 minutes, but the people who had taken minor roles, you could have focused them for the table topics. That's just one minor suggestion. Then another important person was the TMOD, Toastmaster Ranjit. Well, it was a great pleasure to see you in action, and you conducted the meeting in a very jovial, in a very pleasurable way. You introduced everyone in a very beautiful way, which made them comfortable to take up that particular role. And it was, I believe, up to an extent, we were well within the time. And for a moment, I thought, being a holiday, we would finish by 9:15, 9:20 p.m. But hats off, let's give a huge round of applause to the TMOD for today. One suggestion which I would like to give is, I've seen in other Toastmaster meeting before the pandemic, like there used to be an award for the best role player among like the TMOD, the grammarian, the evaluator. If you notice, most of the meetings, it's either the TMOD or someone else or table topics. But in our KEEN4 club, you can see sometimes the grammarian or the R counter or the timer comes up with copious detail in evaluating the report. And they themselves set the bar high. So it's just a suggestion that the XCOM can decide that we can have a vote for the best role player, like who would be like either the TMOD, the timer, the R counter, the grammarian, or even the general evaluator. It would give them a motivation to take up these roles also. I've seen it being done in other clubs. It's something, it's a food for thought. Besides that, I very much enjoyed the meeting, hoping to see you and enjoy the holidays the next 4 to 5 days. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Terrell Thomas, for explaining or giving your feedback the best possible way. In fact, he left out with a lot of energy, and we still didn't feel like the meeting is coming to an end. So hats off to you, and thank you so much for your valuable suggestions and feedback. So now we are almost in the final stages of today's meeting. Before I give control to the president, once again, I would like to reinstate the point which I started with. We should learn, understand, and decide when to return in our life, because returning is never easy. Especially in today's fast-paced world, we are all in a race to reach our goals. It is always good to be a fast runner, but it is more important to know how far we have reached and be prepared to return back at the right time. Or else, there will not be any meaning to the distance we have covered. As in the story, I wish the character of the story could have returned on time. May we all get the conscious strength and decision to return. I hope we had an interesting meeting today, and I would like to thank all the role players, participants, as well as the guest members who made this meeting a memorable one. Now may I welcome President Toastmaster Binish to take over the control for the award presentation. Toastmaster Binish.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
If someone asks, any new Toastmaster asks, how to perform a TMOD role, here is our Toastmaster Ranjit Rajashekaran. I request all members to unmute and give a big round of applause to Toastmaster Ranjit Rajashekaran. Okay, now we quickly move to our award ceremony because we are already late by 4 minutes. Best evaluators, there is a tie. It's DTM Joshua Matthew and Toastmaster Rajagobi. Best table topics, Toastmaster Pranav Rajivan. And the best speaker, international speech, Toastmaster Steffi Sampson. All right.
Before, maybe you can just ask the guest for a short comment, maybe.
Sure, I'm just coming to that. Okay. Since we are running out of time, you may please conclude within a minute. I request Toastmaster Asha Pradeep to give you a comment.
I was there only for the beginning, and I just finished my last patient and I came here right at the end. But in future, I will make sure that I don't have too many appointments and I can attend your meetings more than what I could do today. But I am very, very happy, and thank you to DTM Joshua for inviting me for this meeting. And the word of the day, I think, was sedulous, right?
Right.
Sedulous. And it's a very difficult word, yeah. How many people have used sedulous in this meeting today, by the way?
At least 5-6 people.
5, yeah. It's very, very good. Even I would sedulously persevere to becoming a good Toastmaster in future.
That's great. That's the spirit. Thank you, Toastmaster Asha.
Over to you.
Thank you,
Over
Toastmaster.
to you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Now I request Toastmaster Vijay Bhatia to make your comments, please.
Toastmaster President Banish. Well,
Dinesh.
I want to thank you very much for having me in this meeting. We have already run out of the time. All the role players have performed very well, and I like them, except I want to give one suggestion only, that there are too many R's being used by all the Toastmasters, all the performers, you see. So maybe you will have to pay a little more attention to improvise on this. That's all, and back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vijay Bhatia. We will definitely consider that, how to control this. So with this, we are concluding our meeting 314, and I adjourn this meeting and wish you all a happy holidays, safe holidays. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
No gavel.
Thank you.
No gavel
Thank
for
you.
adjourning the meeting.
He hasn't been handed over the gavel.
Ah. Otherwise, when you adjourn, you have to bang it one time or two times.
One time.
One
I
time.
want to say
Yeah.
just one more thing.
And when we start the meeting,
Both one time.
both
Can
only
I
one
say
time.
one?
Yeah.
Can I say just one thing?
Yeah.
I want
Yeah,
to
please.
take this opportunity to invite all the KEEN Toastmasters to our club meeting, which we will be having next on 28th, Wednesday at 7:30.
Thank you.
Wednesday will be a holiday, no?
Yeah.
No,
28th of this month.
28th.
After
Next
holidays.
week. It was supposed to be 21st. Because of the holiday, we shifted it to 28th.
All right. Good night.
Okay.
Goodbye,
Thank you
everybody.
so
I'm
much.
leaving.
A
Yeah.
long
Good
weekend.
night. Good night.
Night.
Right.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.